Hello everyone, this week's parasha is Parashat Vayeshev, and in this week's parsha we hear the very famous story of Yosef and his brothers, that Yosef has dreams, his father loves him more than the rest of his siblings decide to kill him for this, and eventually he ends up getting sold instead of killed, gets sold into slavery until he makes his way up in the world of slavery, or maybe he just makes it over there directly, depending on how you read it, but he ends up being sold to Potiphar, one of the ministers, the highest ranking ministers of Paro. And over there, he becomes the ruler of the entire house. Everything that he does, God helps him. And Potiphar realizes this and says, everything that you want in this house is yours. You are here to command, except my wife. But the problem is that his wife is obsessed with Yosef and keeps on trying to get him alone. And Yosef once gets caught, and she grabs him and says, "Come be with me." And he runs out and he leaves his clothing over there. While he escapes out, she says, "Here he came and tried to rape me, and here are his clothes. I screamed, he ran away." And then Yosef gets thrown into jail. Now, the question is, how did Yosef have the power to fight this temptation? Beautiful wife of his master. He is very high ranking, and everything that he does, he's succeeding in, and she's throwing herself at him. How is he able to avoid this temptation? Rashi says over there, when he is about to sin, Ra'a dukyono shel aviv, he sees the image of his father. So the different commentaries talk about this. There's a commentary who looks at it and says, this isn't something miraculous, but rather he's never seen a mirror beforehand. And there was a mirror in that bedroom, and he did not see what he looks like for years and years. And he has the same face as his father, and then he sees the face of his father, and he gets scared of what would my father think, and runs away, or my father's here looking. And the most common of the commentaries look at it and say, he pictures his father and says, what would my father think of me if he can see me now about to sin with a married woman? Rav Shlomo Karlibach brings something that I think is so much more powerful than that. And he says, Ra'ad yukyono shel aviv, he saw an image of himself as a father. And he says, how can I do this to my children? My future children that aren't even born yet. What would they think of me if they've known that I slept with a married woman? How could I ever look them in the face and say, follow my example, if I can stoop that low? And this is what gives him the courage. Everyone needs a different way of being able to overcome temptations. But for me, the thought of what would my kids think is the most powerful thing. Shabbat Shalom.